The world is still healing from the day Godzilla showed himself, destroying half of San Francisco in the process. In this climate, half-siblings Kate and Kentaro Danda will investigate the truth about their father Hiroshi, which will call the attention of Monarch. To do so, they will seek help from Lee Shaw, a longtime collaborator of Hiroshi, who is one of the 3 founders of Monarch, which inception took place 2 generations prior. Hey folks, Luke Ripa here, and welcome to the Monarch Legacy of Monsters review, the Apple TV Plus exclusive TV show part of Legendary's Monsterverse. As you could tell by the plot, it's a tiny bit convoluted. The show is taking place on 2 different narrative levels. One is in 2015, 1 year after Gareth Edwards' Godzilla 2014. The other is taking place in 2 decades, the 50s and the 60s, depicting how Monarch was indeed born. While the first part presents predominantly new characters, the period piece side portrays Miranda, who we met in Kong Skull Island, taking place a decade or so later. Anyways, the result of this double narrative is finicky, as neither present interesting developments at the same time, meaning at times you wanna stay in 2015, but the narrative switches to the 50s where nothing much at the moment is going on, or at least the present is more interesting, and obviously vice versa. That is perhaps the biggest flaw, as it ends up bothering the viewer more often than it should, in my opinion. On top of them, there's quite a number of flashbacks within the 2 parts themselves. They are clear and not confusing by any means, but I can see some people complaining about that, as we already are time jumping around quite often. The most fascinating thing about the time jump is indeed the Russells casting. Wyatt and his father Kurt play the same character, Lee Shaw. The former plays him in the 50s 60s, while the latter plays him in 2015. The end result is a very interesting dynamic, giving the authentic illusion the character is played by the same exact person. Even Wyatt is astonishingly similar to his father when he was younger. Kurt relies mostly on his charisma, much like the character requires, whereas Wyatt has to do more as Lee is still growing. The rest of the cast is very strong as well. Anna Sawai, who we are seeing now in FX Shogun, offers a really strong performance as Kate Randa is essentially the lead of the show. Then Watanabe, who plays Kentaro Danda, is a good co-protagonist. I just felt his writing wasn't as good as her half sisters. And in general, that's a flaw for most other characters in the show. The old cast is really solid, but suffers from discontinuous writing, including Miranda, played by Anders Holm, with John Goodman reprising from Kong Skull Island in the show's prologue as well as in a number of found footage. The only exception is Medi Yamamoto, who plays Keiko Danda, who perhaps has the strongest writing and the strongest performance in the entire show. It's safe to say you understood Monarch's writing isn't its biggest quality, and I think part of it is to be found in having to juggle multiple characters and situations in multiple timelines. However, they managed to make the show the most interesting story in the Monsterverse franchise. Not a difficult bar to jump above, but worth noting nonetheless, as the sense of mystery is held tightly and wisely throughout the entire runtime. Not only that, the show manages to give further depth to the Monsterverse world and make more sense of Monarch, cementing its very great nature. Where the show excels though is everything else. The soundtrack is great, the filmmaking is really solid, the atmosphere in general is superb, the mise-en-scene is really effective, and the special effects are out of this world for a TV show. And yes, the show doesn't feature a lot of kaiju fights. Over 10 episodes they show up 5 times and for a limited amount of time. Again, this is a TV show that was to be expected. Yet, Monarch knocks it out of the park in those scenes. They look amazing, they are wonderfully directed, and certainly Godzilla fans won't be disappointed. As far as the king is concerned, just watch the show. Overall, I score Monarch Legacy of Monsters with a solid 7.5 out of 10. Humans' writing is still the biggest flaw of the Monsterverse, but the Russells give it an interesting vibe, the world building is amazing, and when the kaijus show up, you will rejoice at your screen. That's it for this review. Did you watch Monarch Legacy of Monsters? What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow, and share it to your heart's content. Be sure to follow Wacos on all social media. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and Twitch. Name is Luke Ripa. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.